And we are live. Welcome back to Transfer Central. It's your boy Chris Stonage for the LFC Transfer Room. Today we've got a face I haven't seen in a long time, Mr. Anthony Audley. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, mate. I'm very good. I'm happy to have your lovely Brummie accent. Is it Brummie or is it Black Country?
I can't tell. I'm from Wolverhampton, but I'm not too sure.
That's Black Country, isn't it? We've also got the main man, Mr. Chris O'Hare, the tactics genius. How are you, mate? You good?
Too far, Chris. Too generous.
And also looks like Dan Bilzerian, apparently.
I do that every day. Like, no way. Absolutely no way. Ridiculous.
I think it's the beard shape. That's what I'm going to go for. I think that's probably the main one. And we've also got the founder of LFC Transfer Room, co-founder Dan. How are you, mate? You good?
Absolutely. Not exactly Dan Bilzerian, but still Dan. And
still Dan.
Still Dan. Still works out. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's good. Good, and we're closing in on deadline day. I don't know what we don't have anything really planned yet, so we'll definitely get some stuff done for deadline day. Not that it's going to do anything, not that we're going to actually sign anyone, but we might do. And there's a lot of good news emanating from the LFC Transfer Room website, which you can check out at lfctransferroom.com. We're going to go to one of the men in the thumbnail to start off with, and we'll go to you, Chris, first. Fabio Carvalho is a player that Liverpool are consistently linked with and have been for the last 3 or 4 months from Fulham. He's got 8 goals this season in the Championship with, I think, 5 assists as well. How good is he, Chris?
He's, to me at least, he looks like the best prospect in Europe under 21 winger, which is saying something. He's also proven in probably the best league in the world, which is the Championship. It's the most competitive league, at least. So when you're talking about a player that's proven in the Championship, who's got amazing numbers, as Chris will probably bring up, it's an absolute no. It's no doubt that we should be going for him. As you can see here, he's in a world of his own when it comes to under 21 wingers, top 2 divisions in top 5 league countries. So that's non-penalty XG per 90. He's in another stratosphere. If Liverpool don't sign him, it's because someone else wants him, and that's the only reason.
Yeah, and I mean, the best thing about Fabio Carvalho, Anthony, is that he's got 6 months left on his contract. Now, obviously, this is going to attract a sharks circling of the super clubs, but Anthony, how likely do you think it is to happen?
Well, judging from all the rumours, I've not really seen many clubs linked with him, but if I'm being honest, I don't know who he is. I've seen a few highlights of him, and he just looks like another Coutinho kind of player. He's good at dribbling, obviously, and could help us in the attacking third. But yeah, I've not really seen much of him to give that much of an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, talking of the players that he's liked, we spoke to Jack Collins in a video that will be coming out very, very soon, either tomorrow or Saturday, probably Saturday, about Carvalho. And he said he's most like Emi Buendia, who I believe there was a couple of rumors in the summer about him potentially coming to Liverpool. But Dan, I mean, talking of Carvalho, he looks like a great prospect.
Absolutely. We were speaking about that the other day. And it's also the type of player that we're missing, because as far as youngster goes, the fact that Harvey Elliott has been moved to the midfield, playing as a different role than as a winger, and the fact that we have Morton, who's more of a defensive-minded midfielder, or even the fact that we have Curtis Jones, who's more of an advanced midfielder. We are missing someone that can be more explosive in the front line, and the fact that he can play as both in midfield or as a winger comes as a huge benefit. It's time to reinvent. It's time to prepare for the future, for life after club and after the front three and after the current team. So he seems like the perfect type of player, not just because of his attributes, but because of his age. So I think it's the right move.
Yeah, he's also represented by his family, but they are being advised by Jorge Mendes, who has a very, very good relationship with Liverpool. Obviously represents Fabinho and Jota as well. So, he's sniffing around. He wants another young Portuguese talent. I saw a little shake of the head there, Chris.
Yeah. I mean, I'll obviously Jorge Mendes has done business with Liverpool. He's not Mia Raiola, who I think Liverpool almost refused to do business with to a degree, which doesn't sound great for Haaland. However, I would say that with those type of things, I just hope that nobody's being unreasonable, because he's not going to come in on 90 grand a week, is he? So I hope that it's all reasonable, and as normal, he earns his stripes just like Jota and just like the others, and then he'll get the big contract eventually.
Yeah, I think as well, with his contract running out in 6 months, it puts Mendes and Carvalho in a strong position when it comes to negotiating. I mean, out of all clubs linked, Liverpool are the biggest. Real Madrid did have one link back in, I think it was October. That's been completely rubbished. Now it's between West Ham, Leeds, and Liverpool. And I think if you're Carvalho, Anthony, do you go to a club like Leeds or West Ham, where you're probably going to be playing either every week or pretty much every week, or do you go to Liverpool and try and earn your trade?
It depends, obviously, on how good he is. Because obviously, if you're good enough, then you're old enough. Or it might be the other way around, that phrase. But I think he might go down like a similar path to Harvey Elliott. So obviously, Harvey Elliott wasn't just straight away in the Liverpool team when we signed him. We loaned him out back in the Championship, and then obviously he performed really well, and then earned his spot in the Liverpool team. Obviously, he's already played in the Championship, so we're not too sure with that. But I think it would probably be best to kind of eventually put him in the lineup, like how we're doing with Cade Gordon at the moment. So I think Liverpool obviously the best decision for him. He won't want to play for Leeds or West Ham.
And Dan, I mean, we saw Chris's video the other day speaking about 4-2-3-1. Could potentially the addition of Carvalho facilitate that?
Absolutely. It seems like Jurgen Klopp has been trying out many times through that 4-2-3-1. And just a little plug in there. If you haven't checked out that video, you better go check it out, because it's really good tactically and visually too. There's some pretty good images in there. But Klopp tried with Shaqiri. Seems like he didn't really fit the mold, whether that's in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. He tried with Coutinho. Coutinho did work out when playing on the 4-3-3 as a more advanced midfielder, but now that he's gone, he's tried with different players in that position. You know, Firmino has played as a number 10 multiple times. It seems like Klopp just wants him as a striker, as a false nine, as we call him. And we're going to keep trying. It seems like he's just going to keep trying. We've been rumored with Fekir, which was almost official, the move. So just like you guys said, it seems like he wants a prospect of a player that can play at the number 10 position, and at the same time be versatile enough to play somewhere else. So I think if he does come in, it'll definitely be in order to, try new things out. Although Harvey Elliott has been brought in, how it's transformed now as a midfield in the midfield three, and as a baseline midfielder, as number 5, as people call it, he is not really the number 10, So I think we need someone that can try in that position, and he could be the one that help us out with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and Kris, in terms of the contract, yet again, I mean, look, we don't want to go into the whole debate, but it does scream like the sort of deal that Liverpool would be all over business-wise as well.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you're going to sign a player, you always need to pay a signing-on fee. You need to pay exorbitant agent fees, and as a result, you're probably going to end up paying a 6, 7, 8, or maybe more million signing-on fee just because you're getting a lad on a free. Then you've got a couple of million wages, agent wages, so it works out about 12 million. And then you've got to get him on a good wage, a suitable wage for the club, whereby it doesn't disrupt the structure, and at the same time, he feels like he can build within the team. So, all in all, you're looking at 12 million maybe. Is Carvalho the best prospect, the best winger prospect under 21 in the current top 5 leagues worth 12 million? You bet your bottom dollar he is. So on that, we can say it's completely sensible. So if he comes in on money the same as Harvey Elliott, and that That player has also been trained in Portugal, I believe. He's got homegrown nation status. So that means at the same time as well, we're going to be able to bring in another foreign player as a result. So it's really important to notice all those things add up to mean he really does, he fits the package.
Certainly does. Moving away from Carvalho and in a player that could potentially be leaving Liverpool. He's actually already left Liverpool this season, but he's come right back. Is Rhys Williams. Anthony last season, obviously, really impressive and was excellent in getting us to the Champions League spots, but didn't really work out for him at Swansea. I think he made 6 appearances in total under Russell Martin. What does the future hold for Rhys Williams?
To be honest, I wasn't one of his biggest fans when he was playing for us. I don't think many of us were, to be honest. But he belongs in the Championship level. He obviously tried it at Swansea, but it didn't work out for him. But he's not really going to get a move elsewhere in the Premier League unless one of the kind of lower teams want him. But then again, they're probably just going to get relegated, and he'll be in the Championship either way. Is he going to get in Liverpool's team? No chance. Obviously, he's probably 6th or 7th in choice. So yeah, I think a Championship move is probably the best move for him.
The 2 teams, Dan, that have been linked with him are Sheffield United and Reading. Now, I'll go to the latter first, and the fact that they've actually already got Ben Davies on loan from Liverpool, the man who I think is a hologram. I don't think I've ever seen him, and you know he's there. He's actually been injured the last 4 games, but that's sort of an upgrade on Swansea. No disrespect to them, you know they are semi-local to me, but Sheffield United have got a lot more prospects of getting promoted. It surely wouldn't be the greatest idea to send Williams to a place that he definitely wouldn't play.
Absolutely, and then there's one of the main mistakes that I see being done nowadays in world football, but it's not really just as black and white as you see it. It's a gamble that needs to happen. Sometimes teams will send a player to another team where he could potentially start, but not right away, in order for him to push himself more and then eventually get into that starting spot. Is just for his, is better for him, because you get the player to push himself, to work harder and all that stuff. Because if you just end up sending him to a place where he's going to start right away, you're not going to get the best from him immediately. He's not going to have to push himself daily. He knows he has guaranteed starting spot. So it's just a gamble, I think I side more on the side whether you have to send a player where he starts daily, regardless of the fact that he's not going to keep pushing himself every day to get into the starting lineup. But at the end of the day, I mean, both sides have their positives, so it's just really a gamble. I mean, it could go either way. But I'm definitely siding more towards the side where one of our players gets consistent game time.
The report, Kris, says that Rhys Williams' future depends a lot on Nathaniel Phillips' future. Obviously, 2 players that were key last season in getting us to the Champions League spots, as I've already said. I mean, look, if there was a choice of which one of those 2 you'd like to see leave, why would you like to see that person leave, and who would it be?
Faced with your choice, I'm going to avoid the question, almost like a politician, and say I'd like both of them to leave. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because I think Klopp views Billy Kometé. I think I'm saying it right.
Kometio.
There you go. Thank you, Kris. Kometio is the real prospect. So with that being said, I really can't see a long-term future for either of them. And with Kometio being younger than both of them, and of the mold of the new signings that we've seen, bigger, stronger, faster, I really think that both of the futures lie elsewhere, and that's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, not every player is going to be able to start for Liverpool. And that's the way it is. And Liverpool is supposed to be a sort of, what do they say in Spain? What do they say? They say a fabrica, which is a factory of football. And we sell players, and that funds the academy. That's the way it should work.
Definitely. Just on that, Kris, actually, Sepp van den Berg has been really excelling in a Preston shirt. I mean, some of them are saying that he's been one of the best players that ever pull on a Preston shirt. In terms of, he's a young lad and he's clearly impressing at that level. I'll go to you, Anthony. I mean, Kris has already mentioned about, that he'd prefer Billy Cometio to be coming through and that Jurgen Klopp sees it like that. Going on to that, is Sepp van den Berg the future?
Oh, it's tough because we still got kind of young centre backs in Konate and Joe Gomez. Obviously, that's if Gomez obviously wants to stay. But apparently he's been playing wing back, hasn't he, Sepp van den Berg for Preston?
Both. He's been playing both right wing back and centre back.
That's obviously Klopp loves his versatile players as well. So having that is another advantage. And I think Van den Berg said a quote saying he wants to be better than Van Dijk in the future or something along those lines. So it's good to have these kind of winning mentality sort of players in the squad. And obviously he wasn't great at Liverpool. He made quite a few mistakes in the matches that he did play. But if he's impressing at Preston and wants to improve, then obviously just keep him. What's the harm?
100%. Massive thanks to the main man Louis for the donation. Harvey Elliott is the exception. Jurgen Klopp and his staff like to keep big prospects around. See Trent Alexander-Arnold, Kelleher, and Jones. I sort of see where you're coming from because I guess the best place to learn really all the skills are in training. I mean, Kris, you're the probably the expert on this one. I mean, they surely will learn a lot in training, but it's the match practice as well which helps them develop as players. Kris, you're muted, lad.
Do you know what it was? I was eating a popcorn. I didn't want to disturb anyone. Right. So, yeah, the match practice is massive because you hear stories from clubs. You hear stories about how training goes. And I went and watched some clubs, some very big clubs. And you have a gander in and you'd be surprised how many clubs have lackluster training sessions that just don't have enough oomph. There's stories of training sessions where one or two players were constantly putting the boot in, and as a result, that can scare off some of the younger players. There's stories in training sessions. Roy Hodgson used to just bore the life out of people routinely and just drill them and drill them and drill them. Now, so the problem is that you never get the intensity of someone literally earning their life from that game. You'll never be able to mimic that. So that's why the game practice is so important. It's not really for technique. It's not for ability. It's not for any of that. It's for the pressure. Can you handle when you've got a 6'5" centre forward in the Championship breathing down your neck and insulting your mother?
It's true. I mean, but then at the same time, like, could you make an argument that it's sort of nurturing within a certain mold? For example, like Trent. Do you think maybe if Trent had been loaned out, he would have been made a different player, or was he just too good already?
No. I think it's really, really difficult. You've got the option of loaning or building and then putting them in. Now, it depends whether they can actually go into that team and do a job from the beginning. Sometimes it's not the case. You look at a Ward-Prowse, for example, who was sent down to the lower divisions, did an amazing job, but that's because he lacked the ability to make a big tackle. They said at Southampton they were really worried about he was a little bit weak on the ball. Whilst Trent, for example, they were able to put him in a position and they were able to protect him enough until he got to that standard. Some still claim he doesn't have defensive standards. Everybody shaking their head there. But however, the point of the matter is that it's a really, really difficult juggle. But I think Anthony said it before. If they're good enough, then they play.
And I was actually going to take this moment also to say that yesterday I was seeing that there was a debate on social media because they saw some pictures of Nathaniel Klein playing for Crystal Palace's under 23s, I think it was. And a lot of people were asking, they were saying that if Nathaniel Klein never really had that, season-ending injury, would have Trent still been or starting right back?
Good point.
Yeah. He would.
And
I think he's that good. I think he was that good anyway that he would be.
Eventually, though, but like, you think,
I respect
immediately?
Klein. I respect Klein a lot, but going forward, he wasn't as good. No, he wasn't even in the same stratosphere. He wasn't even in the same stratosphere as Trent.
Wait 1 second though. Do you remember, or do you guys agree that Nathaniel Klein, there was a point that he was the best right back in England, ahead of Walker and ahead of everybody else. There was a point where he was world class. So I mean, who knows if he kept that?
I think that's the difference between him and Trent. Like Klein would never reach the world class level, but Trent's kind of pushed that, and he's by far the best right back in the world.
But there was a point where he was the best in England. I remember that. Nobody was just performing better than him. And then obviously Walker got his form back when he moved, I believe, to City and then all that happened. But who knows? That could be a really good debate. What would have happened?
Yeah, you're right. You are right, Dan. You've got an amazing point. There was a time when people considered him to be one of, or not the best right back in the country. However, there was also a time when people thought Cristiano Ronaldo was good at free kicks. And as a result, he's taken free kicks his entire life, and he scores like one every 10 years and then does his stupid little dance. Like, he's almost a 40-year-old man, for God's sake. And he jumps up and down and just says yes in his language. Great. Like, I agree with you, but what I'm trying to say with my point is, like, I think standards were just lower then. You know, there wasn't Cancelo, there wasn't Walker at the level he is now, which is a point that you made. And I think that you're right that he was considered one of the best, but he was probably playing in Roy Hodgson's England type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't. I know he wasn't, but anyhow.
Yeah, Rhys James was still wasn't there. I think he was still playing for the under-21.
Because Klein was top professional. And he's a solid player, solid Premier League player. I would go as far to say that he's probably been our second best right back in the last 15 years, behind Trent, obviously.
To be fair, the kind of whole right back, like the role of the right back changed ever since Trent came in, I think. So back then we didn't need Klein to be attacking. We had like, for me, obviously the front three, the front four.
But I do gotta disagree with the fact that people were saying that Klein wasn't as good going forward. I remember he was great. He was great everywhere. He was a solid player. I mean, I remember, I think it was the season that the club came in, or the season, the first two seasons, Klein was the only player in that team that was getting you above average performances. So he was okay going forward.
Coutinho existed.
But like when club came in?
Yeah, man.
Was he Origi? No, Origi took some time.
This is a debate. This is a debate, lads. This is a good debate. And to be honest, I do know that Dan's got a Klein shirt underneath his Ecuador top. So
yeah, mate. I love Nathaniel Klein, but nah, there was a lot of players in that team who were performing that year. I mean, I remember that when we got to the League Cup final, and hopefully I'll get to watch the next one. When Coutinho scored, I nearly touched his hair, and that's my claim to fame. You know, that's as far as it goes. But yeah,
what hair did you nearly touch?
Coutinho's hair.
Yeah, but
when he came into the crowd and I nearly ruffled his hair, but I couldn't reach. I was only
we do have hair in different places, and I was wondering.
Yeah, but I couldn't really reach there. If I couldn't reach there, you know what I'm saying? Moving on. Matt Phillips, I did briefly mention him. Well, I mean, Dann, he's a player who potentially Newcastle could be after, or there's a lot of clubs that could go after Nat Phillips. But how much do you think he could command in this transfer window?
Tough one, really, because if you ask me, he's proven himself to be a Premier League type player. So he totally has the abilities he's good as a defensive player too. I mean, there's just a few things that he's missing, maybe more experience, maybe some more speed. But I mean, other than that, I mean, you could say he's on the same level as some above average defenders in the Premier League. So why not command 20 million? Why not 18 million? You know, this is a player that has proven that not only he could play really well at a top side in the Premier League, but he could also command a line next to someone that is not a leader, because I remember he was playing next to Rhys Williams. So it's not like he was playing next to Van Dijk. It's not like he was playing next to Matty. He was doing just that by himself and another youngster. So this is a proven player. You're not buying an experiment. You're not buying a potential gamble. You're buying a solid player that is going to give you above average performances, if not really, really good performances every match day.
I do think that Nat Phillips elevated a level when he had Fabinho in front of him, though.
Everybody.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he wasn't good, because he was absolutely fantastic. And I do agree with everything you're saying, Dan. But I mean, Kris, what do you think the likelihood of him leaving is? And do you think it'll be this January?
I hope he leaves, only for him, because I think that it would do wonders for his career. I could see him, as Dan makes, I could see him walking into Burnley, for example, without any problems. Newcastle, if they're hitting teams on the break and they play a low block, why not? You stick him in there, he's just going to head everything away. I agree with what Dan says. I just don't think that Liverpool aren't going to let him go unless they get a certain amount of money. And I think that's Liverpool's rule. And I think the reason they do that is because they say, we're not going to be messed about on money. And I think that all across Europe, people know you can't mess Liverpool about, but you can try and ask Newcastle for a 6 million. What was the fee? 6 million they wanted. Manchester United wanted 6 million to loan Anthony Martial for 6 months, and they gave him to Sevilla for free. So it just goes to show you how important it is to just put the message out there. Don't mess about. Pay us if you need to. Phillips better than Ming says.
To be honest, right, with Nat, I think he gets quite frowned upon just because he's not fashionable. Like, I mean, Anthony, you said you weren't the biggest fan of Rhys Williams. I assume it's quite on the contrary for Nat.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant towards the end of the season, and I know we all say, he'd fit in with Burnley, but don't you think he's much better than Burnley? Obviously, Burnley in the relegation zone, but surely when he gets linked with those sort of clubs, he thinks he could do much better than playing in. Well, he's going to be playing in Championship next season if he joins them. But he literally carried us to top four. I wouldn't say carried us; it's a bit of a stretch actually, but he's one of the key players to getting his top four. So I think he could get into one of the top 10 sides. To be honest.
A lot of people suggested, and I've been in a lot of streams talking about transfers in the last few months, and there seems to be a narrative, Dan, that potentially Liverpool should keep Nat Phillips over Joe Gomez. Now, would you suggest that that's a sensible opinion?
It's a smart thing to do come for a player like Joe Gomez. If I'm Joe Gomez, I'm not staying in a team where I'm third choice center back, knowing my abilities. But it's not a smart thing to do for Liverpool. We all agree that Phillips is a great defender, or just like I said before, an above average defender, but he's nowhere near Joe Gomez level. The speed. He's actually very good now with his abilities to throw like long range passes. It seems like he's getting to that from Virgil van Dijk too. He's just way better. I mean, there's differences. I feel like Joe Gomez, under the right manager with consistent game time, he can turn into a top player. While Nat Phillips has reached already his ceiling. We've seen the best of Phillips. I don't think it can get better than that. So I would disagree. I would think we need to keep Joe Gomez, but from a player perspective and probably what's better for him, Joe needs to leave. He could play seriously for a top club anywhere in the world.
I mean, Kris, with both Gomez and Phillips, Liverpool are in a strong negotiating position. A, they're English, and B, they've both got 3 years left on their deals. 2 years left on their deals. So Gomez runs out in 2024. I think Phillips runs out in 2024 as well. I mean, how much would you command for Gomez?
Gomez, I think the market's really strange at the moment, because I can remember Neymar going for 200 million. And people obviously lost their heads, and rightfully so. But then Woods goes for 25 million the other week, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's mental." And you're like, "What? Like 25 million's mental for Woods, but 200?" You see what I'm saying? I'm not So I think the market's quite strange at the moment to put a finger on an exact figure, but I would say that in a normal market, he's a 50 million, 60 million pound player. Now,
Counting
what
the English tax or not, or without English tax?
Oh, with I would say.
I think, yeah, I'd say with. I'd say with because people also realize where he is in the Liverpool team, and they know that he's upset. It's not like they're going to try and buy the first time player, you know. So they know where he's about. They know that he probably wants to leave. They know that Liverpool would use that money. Now, that puts Liverpool in a really strong place because Liverpool can sell him to a not a rival, but a good team in the Premier League, for example. And at the same time, they can ask for something in return. I'm looking at something like a Saka from Arsenal, whose contract is running out. I never think they'll get Saka, but I can't imagine a world where we sell Gomez for 50 million and then we buy Saka for 70 million, for example. That could happen. So the Hoover and Jota situation all over again. So I do think that those type of things can happen, and it does put us in a strong place moving forward. Would I sell Gomez like that? No, I wouldn't. Especially considering Matip's injury prone, especially considering Konate has had injuries in the past. But then again, do we need a fourth place centre back? Because he's probably fourth at the moment, in my opinion. Do we need him to be virgin world class? You don't need that in any squad. I can't name any squad in history that had, maybe an Italian one, maybe that had 4 world-class centre-backs. So it's...
But the Milan team that conceded 15 goals over a season, that was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did play four centre-backs at the back as well, yeah.
Yeah.
They just Maldini playing as a right back or a left back. I mean, yeah.
I mean, this is their team. Baresi, Costa Curta, Sebastiano Rossi in goal, and Maldini. I mean, these players are just like parking a bus, isn't it?
I work with a guy who played in that team.
Do you? Who was it?
It's Giorgio. Let me pull it up on my contacts. Giorgio
Iellini.
He's the head coach of one of the clubs I'm at now, and he's a really, really nice guy. Really nice guy.
George. Gianluigi Lentini, is that him?
No. Well, his WhatsApp is Giorgio Coach, so I don't know his last name.
It's okay. It's George.
Absolutely. My guy Giorgio.
That's the guy. Looks like a footballer.
He does, to be fair. He does. Respect to Giorgio. But anyway, we've gone 33 minutes in the stream without mentioning what is actually in the title, which is quite remarkable. Anthony, we've seen links today that potentially Mohamed Salah could be heading back to Chelsea if he doesn't sign a new Liverpool contract. Where on the ranks of Bullshit Island does this sit on?
Right at the bottom. He's not, no way is he going Chelsea. He's not going to go to any other Premier League club besides obviously renewing the contract at Liverpool. If he were to leave and not sign the contract, I think the only club I can imagine him going to is probably PSG or maybe Real Madrid, but just PSG. I think obviously he's had the history at Chelsea, so he's probably not going to go back there either. But here's hoping he signs a new contract anyway. Yeah.
So Dan might have to head off in a second because he might go watch the Ecuador game, but we can all finish it off. I mean, Dan, get us on your opinions on Salah to Chelsea. Will it happen? Will it not?
It's absolutely rubbish at all. I mean, I'm surprised that it actually came from a somewhat okay source, you know? I mean, I was surprised to see that it wasn't coming from the good old Diario Gol or the good old, Football Insider and all that good stuff. Yeah. But if it does happen and it does get to the point where Mo Salah leaves, he will leave for a team that is going to pay him what he deserves. One, yes. But he's not going to stab Liverpool in the back and go to a direct rival, If anything, I can see him going to Real Madrid. I can see him even going to Bayern Munich, maybe if Coman and Gnabry or Sane doesn't work out, he can probably go there. I could even see him going to PSG, like you guys says, but he's not the type of person where he's going to be stabbing Liverpool in the back and saying, you know what, I'll go to your direct rivals. And especially because he already proved what he did, he could improve back when he was at Chelsea. He proved that he's a Premier League type player. And not only that, but he also proved that he's the best player in the world right now. So I don't think he will be doing that. So yeah, pretty rubbish stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, Dan, we'll let you run off to your game. So enjoy that, mate. And hopefully Ecuador can upset Brazil.
Hopefully at least a draw so we can go into the World Cup. But we'll see that. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Come on.
Viva Ecuador. There we go. So on that, Kris, the quote from Jurgen Klopp last week. I know that Mo wants to stay. We want him to stay. This is where we are. These things take time. I can't change that, but I think everything's in place. Do you read from that the everyone wants this deal to happen? It's just about agreeing the finer details. And if it does happen, when will it happen?
Right. I obviously we try and do a lot of reading, and I know yourself, Kris, you're a well-read man, and I'm sure Anthony too. We all know that there are many people suggesting it's already signed and sealed. And at the same time as already suggesting that, we know that it probably hinges on what Liverpool are going to do going forward. Salah's probably not going to sign unless he has reassurances that Liverpool are going to be able to splash out. We're going to be able to do something that makes sure that he can take advantage of his best years. Therefore, with that being said, I think that it might not just be Liverpool who are waiting, but Salah as well. Because if Liverpool go out at the end of this window or in March, for example, and go and buy a player with 70 million Jude Bellingham, for example, right? I guarantee a couple of weeks later that signature is on the paper. But both Liverpool and Salah don't need to sign straight away. Nothing changes if he signs right now. Nothing. Because that contract will begin at the end of the year, inevitably. Because that's what they do. They say it starts in June type of thing. It starts at the beginning of the next season. So there's no pressure from Salah. There's no pressure from Klopp. The only pressure they're getting is from the outside world. And Salah's saying, they know what I want. Klopp saying, we know what he wants. And we've got it covered. So I think that pressure saying he's going to Chelsea, I don't know who said he's going to Chelsea, honest to God. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Chelsea don't even have the budget to sign him now after splashing all the money on an attacking midfielder who can't score and a forward who can't score. So
Who's dreaming of Inter? All he wants is Inter.
Oh really? Oh yeah, Lukaku. I was thinking of Werner, but yeah, Lukaku too. Yeah. Imagine your best striker coming out and going, I don't really like it here. They're all tits.
I mean, they would be. You wouldn't have it under Klopp, I tell you that. He'd be gone. He'd be given the full Sacco treatment from that, for sure. I mean, Anthony, what are your opinions on Salah? When do you think it'll be done? If it will be done?
I do think it will be done. I kind of agree with Kris, actually, that he'll want to see us make signings or want to see some sort of change within the squad before actually putting the pen to paper. But at the same time, we're always going to be like anxious about it. You know, the same thing happened with Wijnaldum last season. Everyone was, I won't say everyone, a lot of us were begging for his signature. And obviously, it was supposedly most likely going to happen, but it didn't happen. But can we see the same happening with Salah? I don't think so. And you know what? I think we're all just heartbroken from all the big players that have left our club over the last sort of 10 years. Obviously, Suarez, Coutinho. So we just finally want to keep one, and hopefully Salah actually signs it.
I think the whole difference is, I think Salah is more than Wijnaldum, worth a lot more to us than Wijnaldum is, in terms of actually going out there and giving him the money. I love Wijnaldum. I didn't want him to stay at the end of last season because I thought it was the right time for him to move on. But I still love him for what he did, you know, and I can't blame him for moving. And I think we went in the right direction. I don't know about you, Kris, with that one.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I think that for let's be honest, you got to make some cruel decisions in this world, and that's one of them. You know, a player who's gave everything for the club, improved with the club, gave his best years to the club. But at some point, you've just got to start pulling the plug and moving towards the future. But I agree, he was a legend for Liverpool, and he should be remembered that way.
Yeah, 100%. So we've seen a couple of tweets just to finish off the stream. Anthony, you've seen a couple of tweets. I think Ian Doyle, who's probably, I'm not going to say that I like the Echo as a source, but out of all the Echo journalists, Ian Doyle's probably the best one. And he said that Liverpool are looking to sign 3 or 4 quality players in the summer. What do you read into that?
Do we need 4 quality players? I think we probably just need 3, to be honest. Probably 1 more forward and 2, either two forwards, 1 midfielder, or 2 mids and 1 forward. But they're just saying the common sense thing, to be honest. You could just, it's clear as day. Obviously, we need 2 or 3 more signings, and they're just saying that to obviously get their clicks. But hopefully we sign some quality players. Obviously, Luis Diaz, he's been linked with Tottenham recently. Obviously, they bidded for him, but hopefully we can get him over the line. Rafinha, another one, and as Kris said, hopefully Bellingham as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kris, you I saw your face drop when he said 3 or 4 quality players.
I don't know where they're getting that from. 4 quality players. We don't have the squad room for it. So that means that we've got to sell quite a few lads now.
I mean, the thing is, though, if you think about it, you've got Origi leaving in the summer, you've got Milner leaving in the summer, you've got Nat Phillips potentially leaving. I mean, Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain have only got a year left on their deals. Salah, Mane, and Firmino have only got a year left on their deals. Then,
you've just convinced me. But wouldn't that? Okay, so right, let's say we lose 4 from the squad. Do we really believe that they're gonna go out and spend more than 30 million per purchase?
No.
Maybe they will. Maybe they've been saving for 5 years, and grandma's gonna smash the piggy bank, and all of a sudden we're gonna go and spend money. I just think that the way they do things is a little bit more. I hope I'm wrong, guy. I hope I'm wrong, and I like being wrong sometimes. It's good, and in this instance, I'd love to be wrong.
Yeah, definitely. It certainly doesn't scream at FSG to go and spend that money unless we earn it back. I mean, Charlie's heard from several sources that we're definitely signing Bellingham. He's also heard that we're definitely selling Mane. So, you know, it potentially might have an Anthony's fuming. I know Anthony loves a bit of Mane. But yeah, it's good. But anyway, we'll finish the stream there. Thank you so much to Anthony, to Kris, and to Dan for joining me, and to you guys for joining us at home. We will catch you in the next stream very, very soon. See you.